with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends of pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, also as well, Game Source and Inside Sports Fantasy Football. You also got to catch our great panelists that are doing a whole bunch of great things, including Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakersBall.com. Plus, also as well, he owns a company you see on his hat right there. Is that Slowpoke Joe? Yes, that is Slowpoke Joe. He is Simblades, Mr. Simblades with a Y.com. If you want your lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, try Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. Plus, also Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet. Those are the guys behind Lakerholics.com. Hit them up today and check out the number one Lakers bloggers that are out there. Go ahead today at Lakerholics.com. Our good friend Stone Hansen, who is there with us for the game. I can't believe I'm already saying this. The Lakers game already. He was there. Go ahead and check out the great work that he does with the Upside Swings NBA Draft podcast. Our good friend John McCallion, he's on YouTube with some great thoughts. Go ahead and check him out today and subscribe to the John McCallion channel. Also, as well, speaking of subscribing, if you've not yet subscribed, please do so you can go ahead and give us a hand and some help in becoming a larger entity than we already are. Plus, you'll get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. And again, if you could like, follow, share, or do anything that you can to help us out here at the Lakers Fast Break, including a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts, it is sincerely appreciated. Well, the Lakers starting off the NBA action season, what have you, as far as the preseason is concerned. We got some basketball today. I just wish it was better basketball on the side of the Lakers. Unfortunately, the Lakers came out today against Houston, and still some work in progress. We got to see a lot of the young guys that were picked up, either drafted or undrafted, and to see what happened. Plus also Max Christie, Cole Swider in their second years to see how much they've developed. And outside of a pretty good showing for Max Christie with some signs that maybe he's learned and he's picked up over the course of the past season, looks like he's going to be one of those second-year guys that should dominate in Summer League. The Lakers, unfortunately, couldn't find a way to defend anyone at all. So there were some moments by Castleton as far as on the offensive end, but their defense really suffered all the way around, and the Lakers end up losing 107-90 in their first Summer League action against the Heat. Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez Jr. really stood out as far as some of the big-time players for the Miami Heat. But here today to talk about the game, the observations from it, but also as well what's going on with the Lakers, because there's been some movements and also a signing for the Lakers, but not what you think. Good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out today as part of the ambiance known as LakersBall.com, and of course the company he owns, Simblades with a Y.com. It is Joe Soro, and Joe, great to have you here, my friend. I want to go ahead and say, yes, the defensive end is still going to be some issues with the Summer League team. We saw Max Christie look pretty solid today. Looks like he's doing what most second-year players in Summer League should be doing, and that is dominating, at least on one side of the ball. There's still a lot of work in progress for a lot of these players, so I don't want to take too much away from today's game.
There was a lot of balance in the scoring today, not much cohesiveness, and just couldn't make shots. Our first-round pick, Hood Schifino, was 6 of 19. He missed all his attempts from three, which wasn't surprising. He's got a good middle game, but as far as the game at the basket and game at the three-point line, it's probably why he was picked 17 versus top 5. So
he was not able to blow by any defenders, but he was able to create contact, and it worked out well for him going inside. But you're right, it was a pretty ugly shot once it got outside of 10 feet.
He did look like a rookie, He looked like a rookie in a preseason game, though, and this is a Summer League game. I expected him to not be as nervous, but he was. I'd say the most impressive player, at least for me, was Castleton. I saw some body movement. I saw some feel for the game that was encouraging for me. The way he would, he didn't miss a shot. Maybe that played a part in it. And and attempted 5 shots and made all 5 shots. So how he's going to play in the long run will depend on his work ethic and how his game meshes with professionals. See, and that's the other thing, guys, is a lot of times a player who isn't good enough yet. It's just like going bowling. You're gonna bowl better a lot of times if you're around bowlers that can bowl. If you're hanging out with gutter ball types, you're probably not gonna play as well. So you wanna see what some of these guys who are gonna be on 2-way contracts look when the preseason starts, and then at that point you can start assessing it in a more legitimate way. Summer league is good in a couple for a couple things. Number one, it's a way for us to, as fans or as analysts, as we are now, to get an idea of what might come. A little bit better than what you see in college, and then of course it kind of occupies our time so that we don't kind of lose the basketball part of this, because usually you're burnt out typically from an NBA season, even as a fan watcher, because we spend so much of our time watching games. I mean, if you really think about it, if you're spending 3 hours 4 days a week watching the Lakers, I mean, for 7 months, and then you count the playoffs into that, you're dedicated to this. We've watched all the games from last year and all the games in the playoffs, and normally you're kind of just like, okay, my time is a little bit more free now. I can do whatever. But I'll be honest, as soon as Game 4 ended against Denver, I was already wanting to watch basketball.
I'll tell you what, though, it is nice that we got some basketball. The action is out there. Unfortunately, Lakers do lose 107-90. It is the Lakers fast break. Again, Max Christie is someone who we have to, he has to pop. He has to go ahead and make a contribution. The Lakers lost Lonnie Walker the fourth. They're not looking. It's like they're going to try and get a backup at this point in time for Austin Reeves, unless you want to move Cam Reddish down in that spot. The thing is, though, the Lakers are going to see what they've got with what they have. Your thoughts, though, on Max Christie possibly being an individual who can step up into the rotation after what you saw today?
Today, not enough. No, I think he should have played better today if that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see anything today that made me think he's going to be a rotational player right now. Can still be a potential player in the future, possibly maybe his third year, maybe halfway through this next season. But I didn't see anything special tonight. I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but I just didn't see.
So 17-6-4 in this type of game is not.
I think the numbers thing can sometimes be fool's gold. I want to see how you make the team better. And you're talking about a guy, the only guy really on the summer league team that actually played in the NBA and played a full season in the NBA. I believe he should have had a little bit better showing in terms of the effect of the game.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. Truly appreciate everyone joining us. The Lakers, unfortunately,
Miami looked like they've been playing together.
Yeah,
the Lakers looked like they weren't playing together, and there was no one on Miami's team that should have looked like they were playing together. So either their coaching was ironclad, or maybe we just weren't mentally ready to play tonight.
Didn't look like it. JD Dubois, who is the coach for the Lakers, unfortunately did not have the team ready, in my opinion. I know they've had some practices already, but still wasn't to the point where the Lakers looked like they were ready. Zangerstein comes in, says the starters are flawed. Why is Lewis not starting and playing 2 less minutes? Yeah, he was virtually invisible out there in the time he was out there on the floor, and just didn't give me an impression either which way. Zangerstein also says I like Max's, but he's not a real point guard. He is a shooting guard, 3 and D. Yeah, absolutely. I would not have Max Christie be the main handler. Your thoughts, though, on Hood Schifino? Obviously, a lot of eyes were on him. He was the point for quite a stretch as far as the guy handling the ball. Had a little bit trouble as far as trying to get around guys. I know that's something that Stone has repeatedly said about his ability to not being able to get around defenders. He was able to get through contact and actually got a couple of and ones. So I thought that was a little bit of impressive. Did have some vision on the court to go ahead and find some passes, but again, for me, it was still a lot of work in progress.
A lot of work, and we have to see how he develops his IQ if he wants to be a consistent player in the NBA, because he doesn't have the athleticism to get to the basket at will. He doesn't look like he has a shot yet, at least from a long distance. And those two areas have to be enhanced before you can say that he might be a player of worth. He couldn't make a shot tonight, and that's his first real NBA game, I would say. Can't hold that against him. You got to let it kind of go the way it goes. But my guess is he's going to have a little bit of a red shirt kind of type season here, much like Max Christie, and there's not going to be a lot of pressure on him anyways. Whether he's going to be the correct pick here or not, I tend to lean on Stone Hansen on this might have been a mistake at this pick. I think this would have been a nice pick late in the first or the second, but I think the Lakers might have stretched this out a little much. I think they should have still went with Cam. Even if he would have bombed, I think that was probably the best pick at that point. But at the same time, it's the 17th pick. Even if this doesn't work out, Lakers seem to have made up for it and bringing in guys that were not even drafted that have been huge benefits to the team. So if they miss on this one, it is what it is.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate everyone joining us here. Got a nice crowd already. And the best Lakers chat room that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Unfortunately, the Lakers do lose 107-90. Hopefully, we can get things going on here a little bit better in 2 days when the Lakers go ahead at 5 p.m. Pacific. Go ahead in their second game in the California Classic before they head to Las Vegas. But we'll see. Your thoughts, though, on Castleton. Castleton says, according to you, he, impressed you the most. I thought he did some good things on offense, ran the floor really well. Defensively, he looked out of position on several occasions, so I know there's a lot of work in progress on there. Still slight a build up top. He needs to improve on his upper body. Your thoughts on Castleton's first appearance as a Los Angeles Laker?
I was impressed. He's so far right out of the gate was more impressive to me than anyone on the team.
Defensively, he looked a little bit.
No one looked
lost.
good defensively, and typically for a young team or a team that hasn't gotten together long, which this was the first game in a summer league tournament. It's very hard for a lot of teams to have defensive cohesiveness. That's not what we're trying to get here. But he had good body movement. He was able to hit shots at the rim with pressure, which is something that I believe is a little bit of the unspoken reason on why the Lakers kind of struggled a little bit this last season, was their inability to handle contact under the rim. And I'm talking even LeBron James. That's a big hole that the Lakers need to fill during the offseason and during training camp. I strongly advise, whether it's Phil Handy, whether it's Darvin Ham, devising some kind of activity to where the Laker players are dealing with contact or training with contact at the basket, because it's an extremely important part of this game. If you make those shots, you're going to get a lot more and ones. And ones are more than just 3 points. Sometimes it's a crowd igniter, it's a momentum igniter, it's a team igniter. So you want to make sure that you're making those shots more than not, because we missed way too many of those during the season. And Castleton, at least from the few that I saw, impressed me there. He had good body control. He's got the height. He's going to get big. And he seems to be a pretty intelligent guy in terms of knowing where to go, right? He knew, guys.
Not on defense yet.
No, not on the team I'm talking about. He knew to go to the Lakers. You could tell he had a plan. So right away, you know that he's already in that strategy mode. And if you're going to base that off of what's already happened, Austin Reeves' agent is Castleton's agent. So this isn't his first rodeo with that. If we end up finding another, which is a position that we really need, by the way, too, at center, if we find another non-drafted player that becomes a rotational player in his rookie year, I'd say if I'm going to have to pick anybody, it might be him.
Tell you what, though, the Lakers hopefully will be able to look a little bit better their next time around on Wednesday, and we'll see what happens there. But I want to ask you this: when it comes to free agency, we're just going to go ahead and we'll pivot to free agency right now. It is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Please go ahead and subscribe today if you've not already to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. When it comes to some of the moves that were made, not too much is going on because, as you know, almost the spots are filled up. Most of the money has been taken, but there was a little bit of action today. Malik Beasley has said goodbye to Lakers, taking a minimum deal with Milwaukee. Mason Plumlee, who we were hoping might still be available for the Lakers as a backup center, he has taken a contract to return to the Clippers for about $5 million. Some of the things that are going on there, but where there's still, absolutely still some options for the Lakers yet available. PJ Washington, of course, we've talked about Christian Wood at length. Your thoughts on what the Lakers should still do? Because again, I think there's still more work to be done.
There's one last spot that they need to get, and that's a hopeful starting center type. And we know that Christian Wood is that guy that's left. That's the guy we need to get to go into the season feeling, okay, I think we've got every spot figured out. Mm-hmm. The issue with Wood is he doesn't play very good defense. And that might be a problem during the season, but he can play offense. So
if he's playing off of AD should be able to make up for some of that.
I'm hoping. We're trying to ease that up a little bit where he doesn't have all the pressure on him on defense again. But it's better to have him than not if that's what's left and that's what they can get. Plumlee got signed, so we know we can't get him now. And there was a word already that he was going to stay with the Clippers. So
Washington is just too small and cannot rebound.
Yeah, it's either him or someone like Bismack Biyombo at this point. I don't know who else could be someone you could plug in there, at least give you some production. There's no one else really. And if we don't get anybody, or let's say if we get someone that's okay, you're probably starting AD, unfortunately, for this season.
Again, it looks to me like right now the Lakers still need to shore up one area, and that is probably in the big man. Although with another maybe guard that could basically back up both spots, or actually just play alongside Vincent if you don't have enough confidence in Christie. I think Christie actually played okay. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. I didn't think he played too bad. I know sometimes handling the ball and going off the dribble for him was kind of rough. Defensively, we came into this league as far as someone that we thought could play some D. Unfortunately, it didn't show out today because the Lakers got roasted at every single opportunity. It looked like a layup line at times, which is kind of frustrating. Your thoughts, though? I think Christie, again, 17 points, looked pretty good. The stroke looked pretty smooth. On the offensive end, I think it was a little bit more. I was actually surprised. Offensively, he looked a little bit better, and defensively, he looked a little bit worse.
I mean, what could he do? You don't really, when you're battling from 15 and 18 behind for pretty much 3/4 of the game, you probably go into more individual mindset mode and say, okay, I'm just going to focus on scoring here. Instead of playing team ball. No one's taking summer league seriously. They don't really care if they win or lose. But I I got to see more. It's just not enough for me. Castleton made an impression to me because, again, this is his first go around in the NBA, and he's at a position that we are looking at, and it's encouraging to see him do what he did. The other guys that were playing, guys like Hodge, guys like Figueroa,
Lewis.
Swider. Swider didn't have a bad game either. He hit three from deep, hit 50%
Well, he was 3 of 9, but
he was 3 from 9, but he did hit some 3-pointers, made all his free throws. It's just he had 5 rebounds as well. I don't know yet.
He's just a catch and shoot guy.
I just don't know yet how to assess this yet. It's not really something you can really assess after one non-popular summer league game. What's interesting is Scottie Pippen Jr. didn't get to play, and we might be seeing him sooner rather than later not being back with LA.
Alex Fudge, I think, was the one that Stone said he was surprised not getting any playing time because as an athlete coming out of Florida, thought he would be able to get a little bit more playing time to show out. But that tells me right there that in the practices that they've had, that he's not been able to stand out as of yet. And then, of course, here in Las Vegas, people are wondering about Bryce Hamilton to see if he can get some shot, but he unfortunately did not get any run either in today's game. Demoy Hodge was a name that, in limited minutes seemed to play okay. Colin Castleton, though, is probably of everyone out there outside of Max Christie, seemed to be the only player. LJ Figueroa was also someone with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Seemed to play adequate, but again, on the defensive end, it was just really hard, Joe, to watch. So much indecision, so disorganized. I was hoping that our coach for the Summer League, who is JD Dubois, would actually have them a little bit more prepared. It looks like, unfortunately, that was not the case.
Yeah. How do you prepare a team that you've never played before?
Looks like Miami did.
We'll see how they play against. Was it the Spurs? Is that the next game?
The next game, I believe, is the Spurs. I'll check to make sure.
Yeah. So I don't. Again, I'm not looking at this as more often than not. I do look at it as a win-loss thing, but
yes, it is the Spurs.
I am more interested in seeing. I was surprised I wanted to watch Alex Fudge. I wanted to see what he was about. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking at these games for anything other than I want to see how you play, how you maneuver, how quickly can you get into position to shoot, how can you get into an offense, how do you play man on man defense? Are you good at paying attention and listening to your teammates talking to you behind you? Those are all things that you pay attention to. If you're not always having your eyes on the ball, it's very difficult sometimes to watch basketball away from the ball. It's even hard for us who are actually trying to pay attention away with it because your eyes just seem to always want to go to the ball. But if you guys pay attention to certain players for, let's say, a 2-3 minute span that aren't getting the ball or that they're not ball dominant, you'll get a chance to see kind of how their aura, if you will, is working within a concept. And the Lakers look confused on defense from 1 to 10. They just could not get any kind of flow and get any kind of stops on defense that would warrant them to go on a run where they could, score 12, 13 points without the other team scoring as well. So they were consistently bad all game long on defense, but they each had a little bit of moments here and there on offense. And that's ultimately what I think is going to get them a roster spot, whether it's in LA or another team. It's an individual tournament. This is a showcase of talent for a lot of these guys. There are some that are obviously going to stay with the team, like Max Christie and Hood Schifino. But the other guys like Swider, I don't see Swider probably coming back. It doesn't look like Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be coming back. So this is their time to hopefully impress someone so they can go somewhere else and hopefully have a spot there.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do unfortunately lose 107-90 in the first NBA preseason action for, I guess, this seasons, you could say, per se, but it is great to have you here. It is Joe Soro and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. But we've got Mr. Yami Sweet, Jamie Sweet himself here from Lakerholics.com. First action, Jamie. Great to have you here. Also, want to go ahead and say that the game itself kind of hard to watch if you're a Lakers fan on the defensive end. Kind of rough there. Some moments on offense, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough.
Well, I was driving home from work during the game, so yes, it was very hard to watch. But it's preseason, right? Are we expecting defense?
Yes.
I'm expecting
that's an indefensible comment, Joe. And
I'm expecting a little bit better on the closeouts, rotations, something a little bit more cohesive, and it looked very disorganized today on that end. Offensively, it looked a little bit better. When you score 90 points in 40 minutes, that's not too bad. But again, when it comes to what you saw today on the defensive end, where at times for Miami, it looked like a layup line. It was pretty hard to watch.
Put it on your bed. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I did not watch the game. I was driving home from work. But it's nice to see that, I think these first couple of games are always like a feeling out period, right? Like none of these guys have ever played together. Well, a couple of them from last season's G League team or whatever, but these are not the bright shining future stars of the NBA. These are the future role players of the NBA. So, it doesn't really surprise me that they struggled on the defensive end. But none of these guys are going to be playing for the Lakers major minutes, or if they are, season's in trouble already. So there you go.
Okay, yeah, you can't take a whole lot away from it. Again, it's the first preseason game, but
game, first round draft picks, guys who haven't even been signed by teams, journeyman's journeyman, yada yada yada.
Well, we'll ask you though. Lakers have made a lot of moves this free agency season. They're getting universal praise in regards to the selections that they made. Your Laker Tom is already, minting a championship ring for himself and others as far as it's concerned. If you listen to him, your thoughts though on exactly how well the Lakers have done so far this offseason.
I mean, nobody wins anything in the summer. Championships aren't awarded based on the job Rob's done. I think Rob did a good job sticking with the plan that we saw them start to put into place last trade deadline, or a little bit before when we traded for Hachimura. So for that, I give I give the front office a B+, A- for picking up guys in the draft who have the potential to help this season and for sure the season after. I give the front office credit for picking up Vincent on a very reasonable deal, whom, based on what Schroeder made, we wouldn't have been able to really afford Schroeder and put some of these other guys on the roster. So getting Vincent for the price point we got him at, great move. But I mean, we're talking about the backup point guard, maybe the backup point guard, depending on how much point guard Reeves and LeBron plays. So a lot of the success of what Rob did this summer will be how healthy are LeBron and AD this season. And if LeBron and AD aren't healthy this season, if they're banged up like they were coming into last season's playoffs where LeBron's playing on a bad wheel, AD's playing on a bad wheel, I don't expect much different results. So did Rob do a good job sticking with what seems like the plan was? Yes. Is that plan a bona fide slam dunk guaranteed banner on the wall? Definitely not. Denver still has to be the front runners to win the champ. They're the champs. Got to beat the champs to be the champs. And if you can't beat the champs, then that's the end of the line, and you're second, third, fourth, whatever. So like I said, I'm not trying to take away from what the Laker front office did this summer. They did a great job not name chasing like they've done in summers past. They did a good job in not just jettisoning players for an aged star. I had a little bit of fear that we would do like a Vanderbilt, Bamba, Beasley trade that would end up, in James Harden, playing 60 odd games and then hitting the clubs and, second round exit. Because that's about all Harden's good for. Or going all in on and trying to get Dame and just filling it out with whatever max contracts we could squeeze in around those three guys. So they didn't do that. So I don't know if you can say they won the summer for not making bad choices, but they with whatever tools they had, I thought they did a great job. I would have liked to have seen us pick up Plumlee. He signed with the Clippers today instead. But then at the same time, you could probably get Tristan Thompson or, Nerlens Noel, another Laker Tom favorite, or Willie Cauley-Stein, another Laker Tom favorite. Any one of those guys, you could get it. There's a wealth of big bodies on the vet minimum market right now. And we're talking about the 15th player on the roster, 14th, 15th player on the roster. And those spots could just as easily be won by guys by the end of summer league, sometime in the middle of training camp. I think we have till the end of training camp to fill out the roster so that there's something that we get. I can't remember exactly what it is. Nick posted about it in the email. And my brain is still in kind of work mode. So
let me ask you this: with one spot, some say two, some say one, but let's just say one for now. One spot remaining. The Lakers are still expected to target at least one big that's out there, and with them all kind of being already plucked today, Robin Lopez, Mason Plumlee, some others as well. There's not much left, but one name that's still out there, my friend, that could help the Lakers more than just a 13th or 14th man is Christian Wood. Your thoughts on getting Christian Wood to the team? Because it seems like amongst our fan base, amongst myself, Joe, and some others, Christian Wood could be a big contributor still to this team.
I mean, look, there's a lot of teams that are going to need to come up from the cap floor. San Antonio, OKC, there's teams that have more cap room than we do, more spending power than we do right now. So I'm not surprised that Wood hasn't landed on a team yet, because I'm sure every contender has thrown a vet minimum contract his way. The Lakers could up that a little bit I think we have about $4.9 million left that we could use till we hit the apron. And if I recall, there's a sweet spot around the apron where, you have access to all your tools. And so the Lakers are operating within that sweet spot. Yeah, I would love it if he came here. I just kind of doubt that he will. I think he'll end up somewhere where he won't be the second or third string power forward, second or third string center, somewhere where he thinks he can start. And I don't think he starts on our team. I would start Vando in front of Christian Wood. I would, you're definitely playing 80 at the 4 or 5 ahead of Wood. I don't think Wood as a small ball center works very well in Darvin Ham's offense, because he just can't defend even the way Hachimura can. And so if you can't play defense at the level of Hachimura, you're not going to get big man minutes on our team. And he's not a guard, so he's not going to get guard minutes. But, if he comes here, it certainly is a better shooting option, a better scoring option than any of the current names out there. But I think that in the end, he'll be a net negative, because he'll probably gripe about his role. Don't do that. Just pick it up.
Yeah, pick it up.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Hit. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up. I'm trying to encourage my daughter to live like
you're basically saying because he'll act in the same way he has everywhere else, because he's burned so many bridges in the league.
I mean, this is until somebody changes their spots. I believe in the spots. I don't take much on faith, if anything. So I like the idea of him on offense. I don't think he fits really on any team and in the NBA, especially a team with LeBron, right? Like, you got to figure off the top of your head, in minutes that matter, LeBron is going to be our slowest, weakest defender. He's not going to help and recover fast. He's not going to hedge and be able to guard the paint and the perimeter. He's going to guard the corner 3 spots, one of the 2 corners 3 spots, and he's going to have his little LeBron zone, and everybody else is going to have to come up with their level of defense to make up for that, to overcome LeBron. And it's not his fault. LeBron's coming up on 40. Like, he's earned the Kobe stand in the corner, I'm guarding this guy who's not moving spot, right? Like, that's fine. I accept that. But we can't have another guy like that on the floor when the game is on the line and in crunch time. So,
well, I'm not asking for Christian Wood at crunch time, but still someone that can shoot 38% from behind the arc to start the game and play 20 to 25 minutes, sometimes even up to 30, give you that kind of relief. He is, again, playing alongside AD gives you a lot of variation and options with two athletic bigs back there.
yeah, I just don't think he's up for the task of. I guess this is what I'm saying. When I watch Christian Wood play, I don't see championship winning basketball. I
Well,
get
maybe
it.
this will be a wake up call because a lot of other teams feel the same way.
I mean, look. Let's take Lonnie Walker as an example. Lonnie Walker, who started the season hot, got hurt, and then blamed the team for himself getting hurt and falling out of the rotation, and signed with Brooklyn for the same amount, if not less, than what we could have offered him. That is what I see out of a Christian Wood type player. Like, if you don't cater to me, if you don't do what I want, if you don't make sure I get whatever, if I don't get fed, I don't want to even sit at the table. I don't want a guy like that on the team. I really don't. I don't care what his 3-point shooting percentage is. It's kind of inconsequential at that point. It's like, well, it's like how Russ ended up, except Russ was unfortunately our best point guard, and so he got the lion's share of point guard minutes. With Christian Wood, you would at least have offered. But I mean, don't you think Wood falls behind Hachimura, Vando on the depth chart right away, at least on this team? I that's how I see it anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's like, oh man, I really have kind of been blowing it up to this point, and if I want another, 5-figure, if I want some zeros after the 1 or the 2, I need to really buy into somebody's team concept. And whatever team that happens on is going to get a decent power forward who can shoot, who can shoot at range. I mean, he's a net negative on defense. So I just don't see him playing those kind of minutes. Not unless somebody's hurt. If somebody gets hurt, that's different. Then you're going to have a Thomas Bryant-like situation where, sure, you're going to be able to showcase all your offensive skills literally because there's no other option on the team. But if you're coming here thinking that for the vet minimum, you're going to move up to the 7th or 8th on the depth chart, I just think you'd be making a mistake. You'd be better off signing somewhere that's, like Utah or Charlotte or somewhere that is just going to let him play and do whatever Christian Wood thinks Christian Wood likes to do, and not buy into a winning system, which Darvin Ham showed that he could put together a winning system when given the right players. And the team struggled to win when it didn't have the right players. And so I think the real question everybody should be asking when it comes to and again, we're talking about the 14th, 15th roster spots. I believe if we sign both our draft picks, we're at 13 players. The league maximum is 15. I think we have to take 14 on the roster to start the season. But
you have to, if you want to keep 3 two-way players, you have to have all 15 booked up.
But that's only if you want to have 3 two-way players. I mean, we barely played our 2 ways last season.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying there's 3 two-way players listed right now.
And that was the stipulation. That was the stipulation I couldn't remember. It was the 2 or 3 two-way players. I mean, I get it. I'm not trying to say listen, I'm not trying to say that the 14th or 15th roster guys aren't important. As we all know, Laker Tom thought Jared Dudley was the best 15th man in the league in the history of NBA basketball, which is, I didn't even know it was a thing until he brought it up. But yeah, everybody has their eye rolling moment on that.
Oh my God! Don't even
it's just
remind
such a funny
me.
thing to even come up with.
People can check that out in the archives. Tom and I.
You know what it is. You know what it is, Jamie.
Just for Gerald and my reaction.
It's this constant need for feel good stories. This is the problem with society. We have to
I don't have that.
I know. I don't understand. It's like it's all this. It's the American Idol brain dead idiot moron thinking, right?
Well, then put me in.
Everything is about feel good stuff because people's lives are so miserable. That's why. Yeah. How about making your own life? I'm not saying Tom's life is bad. I'm just saying in general. Some of us out there that are actually living normal lives, they get sucked into that crap and they let it affect them. Yeah. These constant feel good stories. And when I end up finding out what's going on, somebody gave me a chance and somebody believed in me or somebody didn't believe in me. And I'm just sitting there going, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I agree with you, Joe.
The same damn story every goddamn time. It's like, dude, just just
live your life.
do the damn work.
Right,
you know?
put the work in. And that's my problem with Wood, right? Like if he's gotten himself to the point where he's looking at vet minimum offers and not liking that, what is it that has gotten him to that position? And to ignore that or to just brush it under the rug, I think is not doing your due diligence. And I think that, I would even go so far as to say is that if we haven't made Wood an offer, it's probably because Darvin Ham has said, I'm not interested in having that guy on the team. And that's fine. I don't think that's a problem. So, I don't see Wood being on the team or not being on the team as breaking the season. There's only one thing that makes or breaks the Lakers season. That's AD and LeBron's health. Everything else is like 5 rungs down the ladder of importance. And it's as simple as that. And so I will say this, if we can assemble a team that allows LeBron to play 25 to 30 minutes a game in the regular season and still win basketball games and come in, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd seed of the NBA and the Western Conference, maybe get home court advantage in a series or two, by all means, make that move. If whatever move that is, make that move now. If you haven't made it yet, make it now. Because that's the key to this season's playoff success, is having a healthy and as fresh as a 39-year-old basketball player can be, LeBron James. And if you don't have that, these moves don't matter. They're just talking head points to fill space because it's inconsequential. If AD isn't playing at 80 to 90%, if LeBron isn't playing at 70 to 80% or higher, it won't matter. I think we saw LeBron at like 50, 45% in the playoffs last season. And we still won a lot. We still did really well. And you saw like what he could do if he could ignore pain for a half of basketball in that last game against Denver, and then it stopped because he stopped. The halftime came. I'm sure the foot flared up, and that was the end of the season. And I would imagine that that's what he'll say in some interview on down the line. And I kind of hope he gets surgery or something to fix it, because if he doesn't fix that foot, and it's something that is, something that happens throughout the season, like Kawhi Leonard, none of this matters. We might make the play-in. We might even get like a 6th or 5th seed. We won't get past the second round. We certainly won't go all the way to the NBA Finals. And it'll all just be for, I'll be sound and fury signifying nothing. The only thing that matters is trying to get LeBron and AD through the regular season as healthy as possible. If Christian Wood can score enough points per game to offset his defensive liabilities, I'm all for it. If we can coax 25 points a game and an all-star nod out of D'Angelo Russell this season so that he declines his player option next summer and chases big money out there in the NBA, I'm all for it. And so on down the line. But if it comes to, if we got to play LeBron 40 minutes a game and the AD 40 minutes a game because Christian Wood's terrible at defense, call me disinterested.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do unfortunately lose in their first preseason effort to the Miami Heat, 107-90. It is Joe Soro from SimBlades at LakersBall.com, and also as well, Mr. Jamie Sweet. Joined him and Laker Tom, a.k.a. Yami Swoot, on his 5 Things articles, and Laker Tom as well at Lakerholics.com. Guys, I want to go ahead and ask about as far as what you're seeing from Castleton. I know Joe has said very high things, 5 of 5 today. Looked a little bit lost to the defensive end as everybody else did on the team, but you're going to hear your friend Laker Tom and mine, Laker Tom, sing the praises continuously about Castleton over the next coming days. So be prepared, Jamie. Be prepared. What are your thoughts?
I'm high on Castleton too. I'm high on his potential. I'm not high on his instant impact. None of these. It's as if people forgot Reeves's first season 2 years ago, where like he put up good numbers for about 2.5, 3 months, and then fell off a cliff until the last weekend and a half, 2 weeks of the season. And all people can remember is how well he played throughout the season last year. None of these guys are gonna be in the playoff rotation. If we make the playoffs, not one of these players who are in summer league and 10 spots through roster spots 10 through 15, unlikely to get big playoff minutes. That's just how it works in the NBA. So again, if one of these guys, can Matt Ryan a game or two, awesome. That's fantastic. We could use a Matt Ryan game or two to fire up, the fan base and make sure we have enough wins to get into the playoffs. But we're talking about Summer League and G League guys here. I can't get too excited. Like they're going to be lucky to make $20 million in the NBA, which is, that's lucky, right? That's lucky for a human being. But
I'd like to be lucky.
I'd like to be that lucky too. But we're not talking about the future, star of the Los Angeles Lakers. Like we're talking about hopefully a future decent role player for the Los Angeles Lakers. Underline the hopefully. And so, could they play some minutes this season and make an impact? I sure hope so. Again, if we're counting on that, this season's done already. Like that's not the recipe for success for this season. And it won't be the recipe for success for any Lakers season. Not just this one. Like you can't look at your undrafted players and your second round picks and be like, all right, guys, let's do this. Like it's not how the NBA works. It's not how professional sports works. I mean, every once in a while, you'll get maybe a Clarkson, right? Who came 4 years of college and was able to score 15 points a game as a rookie and carve out a role and grew a little bit every season. And he still wasn't the guy he was his first 2 years as a Laker that he is now. So this whole thing that the Lakers won the summer or like the Lakers just killed it in free agency. I'm not trying to take.
It gives fans hope. It gives our listeners and audience hope. It gives the people that's watching out there that are Lakers fans.
There's only one thing you should hope for: that LeBron James can be healthy for the playoffs. That's it. Everything else, you're just fooling yourself.
Anthony Davis as well.
Both play. If that's all you should hope for, put a little, put stack some stones up on the side of the mountain. Put some flowers by your favorite, by the El Segundo, freeway exit. Put a little shrine in your closet for the health of LeBron James and AD. The rest of this is fluff on the edges. It's the pillows on the bed that you're not even sleeping on. It's just, it does not really matter. Because if these are the guys that are having an impact, that means a lot has gone wrong. That means so very much has gone wrong with the real team. And that's just the truth of the matter. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to be real. And look, we can win free agency by hewing to a plan, but it doesn't mean we've won anything real. It just means we stuck to a plan. And I'm glad to see that we stuck to the plan. I'm not trying to take away from Rob, not trying to take hope out of people's, take the wind out of anybody's sails. And if people want to be excited about Alex Castleton, I see a lot of potential in him too. I just don't think he's going to be playing 15, 20 minutes per game for the entire NBA season for us.
Joe, I want to ask you this, but when it comes to a signing, something that happened today for the Lakers, in an area I think of need that I think has not been talked about too much. We've talked about it on this show only a couple of times, and that is DeMarre Carroll joining the ranks as far as the coaches are concerned. Veteran player, bounced around from team to team. I don't know what he brings he brings as far as experience, but I'm not sure exactly. Obviously, an unproven coach, but he did play, when Darvin Ham and him were in Atlanta. Your thoughts, though, on DeMarre Carroll, because it leads to a bigger question I have as regards to something I mentioned to you about a week ago, as far as the Lakers losing some coaches, losing some personnel as far as in the video room, coordinator to Phoenix and some other places as well, but mainly Phoenix, a lot of Frank Vogel trying to pluck some guys out of the Lakers system. Your thoughts, though, on replenishing that with good coaches and how important that is for the Lakers' success?
I don't see much difference in terms of success. This is a very player-heavy sport. The Jamie made a good point. This whole thought process of who we're signing, who we're keeping, who's coming, what coach we're going to bring in to help Darvin Ham, all these are all geared to make sure that AD and LeBron James don't flame out at the end of the year. And if those guys flame out, it doesn't matter at the end. It doesn't matter if you got the best assistant coaching. Doesn't matter if you've got the right role players. If AD or LeBron are not at least 100% no one's 100% at the end of the NBA season, but at least to the point where they're not playing in pain or burnt out from an 82-game season or the first couple of rounds. Though that's the only thing that matters here. Are these guys going to help that? As far as the new assistant coaches coming in, DeMario Carroll or whoever, we don't know. We don't know how good they're going to click with players. And if an assistant coach is that valuable, then I think we would see more wins from a lot of these teams that are playing. And most of the guys that have made an impact as assistant coaches would take over more as well. You don't see that too much. I think we saw that in Boston when they did it. Udoka got fired, but it's just not the norm. So with that, I don't see it as a big upgrade. It's just Darvin Ham finally bringing in guys that he's close with and related or that can relate to him better. Guys that work with him in Atlanta, guys that work with him in maybe even in Milwaukee. You want continuity there with the coach. You want a coach that's why it is important for the coach to pick his assistants, because the line of communication and the chain of command is going to play a big part in how all that kind of works together. He's going to be able to tell certain guys that he's brought in, hey guys, go work on that drill that we need to work on at the basket. That's what I would do, right? And then Darvin Ham is going to focus more on which lineups he wants to play and why is this person better in this spot during this time. That's what the coach's job is, to adapt during a 48-minute game as well as he can. That's really the job. And the other part is obviously to motivate the players to getting the most out of them that he can.
I will say, though, that the chat is going wild. Roni, though, as a Mavericks fan, you should be concerned, though, as far as on the defensive end. You did get a little bit younger, a little bit more athletic, but you still have quite a bit of holes in the defensive end that I think need to be addressed before the Mavs can really climb back up the ladder to the top of the Western Conference. But obviously, because you have Luka and you have Kyrie, you got to put them as a factor in the playoffs. I will give you respect on that. But when it comes to as far as the team, Joe, with the Lakers going forward, if you were out there coaching and you were JD Dubois, what would you actually focus on? I would make some changes in the starting lineup. I would put Castleton in the starting lineup. I would make sure JHS put too much pressure on himself, I think, today to try and perform, and unfortunately couldn't get it done. Your thoughts on what changes you would make for next game on Wednesday?
Well, if you're trying to showcase your players, the guys that are for sure going to be on the roster, then you need to devise an offense and a team concept around their talents. So if you want Max Christie to be effective coming into the season, you need to run an offense to where you can get him, let's say, on the corners with some room to shoot. If you want Hood Schifino to be kind of get an easy transition from college to the pros, you're going to want to have him control the ball and hopefully set up some kind of pick and roll, let's say with Castleton, and see how that kind of works out. So you can get a nice little test on how it would be if AD is the receiver in a pick and roll or if it's someone else. Those are the things that I would do to enhance the guys that are not going anywhere. The guys that are kind of hanging around or trying to earn a spot, let them decide if they really want to be NBA players. You can't really coach a team for a 7-game window. You have to play with what you're going to have here coming up in the next season. So my thing is I didn't see enough of that. I didn't see a offense that was set up to enhance the next step for guys like Max Christie, for the rookies like Schifino or Maxwell. Those guys aren't getting cut. Let's see what they got. Put something in their hands. Create something for them so that they can succeed. That's what I would do in the next game. And maybe, and I'm not saying he might have not sort of done that, or maybe he decided to kind of let them go out there and feel it out and see what kind of came with it. But as they come back, now he has film. Now he has something that he can sit down with them and show them, all right, guys, this is what your weakness is right here. Don't go to the middle of the paint and do a floater. You're not a floater guy. And Hood Schifino, stop shooting from 3 right now. Unless you're wide open. Don't shoot the 3 with someone kind of hovering around you or late in the shot clock. I think the pressure of that, the fact that this was his first semi-NBA game, I think kind of threw him off. But he still was, he had some moments at the basket, which is fine. But I would focus on those guys' skill sets a little bit more and trying to get those guys better opportunities to be successful. As far as the defense is about want, guys. I know that there are systems that make a team defensive concept work, but again, we're not doing that here. There's not enough time. So defense is about want. And we're in a league right now where offense is, holy smokes, we have a Magic Man here. Finally. The Magic Man has come back to LFB.
But go ahead and finish, Joe, and I'll give you a proper introduction.
In conclusion, I want to see against the Spurs in the next game a little bit more attention to those who we know have a shot at possibly playing a role in next season's team. Mainly Max Christie, maybe Hood Schifino, maybe Castleton. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that develops.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. Unfortunately, the Lakers do lose 107-90 to the Miami Heat in preseason action. But here today, a returning man indeed. We're all just overjoyed by his return. He's beaming, he's smiling, and I hope all is well. It's great to have him back.
Hi, Sean.
It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. Sean, great to have you back, my friend. We just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, it's just so great to have you back. We wish for you very well and just hope that one day Jamie Sweet can get his angle right on his cell phone. But what I want to ask you here is, you've seen, before we get into today's game for you, my friend, you've seen as far as what the Lakers have done so far in the draft and in free agency, a lot of there's universal praise. Jamie was tempering the enthusiasm a little bit, and rightly so, because we got to see it out in the court and see how it works. But as Jamie still, this fascination with you in the sink, my friend, I'm going to go and take you off camera a little bit on that, unless you really want to show that you want people, you do your dishes.
I'm doing dishes, man. I'm about to make dinner.
Okay, fair enough. But I'll bring you back on in a second. So when I got right there as far as what's gone on with the Lakers and also the universal praise they got, your thoughts on how the Lakers have done so far this free agency season?
Yes, Gerald. I've been listening to what everybody has said, and I think the consensus is that it's pretty good. Obviously, with the restraints we were up against, I thought we did pretty well, actually. I thought Jackson Hayes' pickup was kind of the cherry on top as far as trying to find like a backup big that can eat minutes when you need to. And he's more consistent than Mo Bamba, so that's a plus. Really happy about the draft. That was surprising. I was listening to you talk all year, Gerald, and you must have been surprised that Hood Schifino fell to the Lakers and they were able to snatch him up. So, I mean, got to hand it to Rob. I mean, he's had a really good offseason, so I'd give him an A so far.
That's good. At JHS, I'm not exactly overjoyed with the pick, especially with Cam Whitmore falling in the draft. And that was something I think that might have been a miss, especially after what we saw today with a little bit of a rough start for him. But again, Castleton looks like he might be a keeper, at least for a little while, as far as someone on the back end as a 13, 14, 15 guy so far. Someone that maybe Maxwell Lewis, although he didn't show us off much, I don't think got the opportunity to go ahead and be able to develop or show off his game today. But when it comes to today's game, was there anything that stuck out to you as far as the Lakers end? Max Christie did show out, play a little bit well on the offensive end, still a lot more to do on the defensive end, unfortunately.
Yeah, he improved quite a bit. Unfortunately, Gerald, because of all the acquisitions we made at the trade deadline, he kind of fell out of rotational position, which is the way it works in the NBA. His defense still has worked, but I really hope he's part of the rotation next year, Gerald. I mean, like, with all due respect, Cam Reddish, great pickup, but I'd rather see some minutes not divvied up between the two. I think if you got to play one over the other, I'd rather see Max get the minutes.
Absolutely. Good. You
yeah.
have to. You're the time's already running out on his contract.
Yeah, I mean, this is put up or shut up time for both of them. So if you're going to find out what you got with him, I think you better hit the ground running and see if he can sink or swim this year as far as a rotational player is concerned.
I will ask you though. Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Cam Reddish's time came and went. He's had ample opportunities on multiple teams to prove he deserves more than a vet minimum contract, and he's failed to do so. So I'm taking a public enemy stance with Cam Reddish, and that's don't believe the hype. And you know, I he's got to show me something on both ends. You know, I don't care that he can. It's like he's got the Kwame Brown physique lure, right? Like, oh my gosh, he looks like he's going to be a great basketball player, but he really can't play. So you got to show me you can play, man. And if you listen, it's like a lot of these guys. There's like 6 guys on the roster that I'm like, I would be more than happy for somebody to prove me wrong. I won't be like, oh man, that guy's a better player than I thought he was. I will be quite content for a lot of these guys who are on our roster to play above their value, to play their way into a better deal that we can't afford next season, a la Malik Monk. I just have my doubts that all of these guys are going to hit the way we want them to hit. And
the only thing, I agree. I agree with you on Cam Reddish 100% because, you know, I was fighting the entire audience for months when it concerns, Cam Reddish, good Cam. There's a reason he's been on 3 teams already at such a young age. And the fact is he still only shoots 30% if we're lucky from behind the arc. If it does, he's very athletic and obviously brings the highlight reel action to him. If the Lakers can continue the pace in the top 5 in the NBA, it would partly be because he is getting rotation minutes and is flourishing in that type of offense. But if the Lakers become more of a half-court stagnant offense, which you and I both know has been an issue over the course of the past couple seasons, that could be a problem for him and his style of play. He needs an up and down, open court type of style in order to flourish because he just, like we've seen with a lot of these players, Jamie and Sean and Joe, he's just not able to hit that outside jumper. And for him, that's a big issue in the league. When you can't hit your outside jumper and you're a perimeter player, that is so much of a detriment to your game.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game, is fill a role. If you're a role player and you can't fill a role,
Papa Duck Butter didn't like Max Christie's shooting stroke.
But I love his name, Papa Duck Butter.
He had good elevation on his jump shot. We talked about this on playback. I think there's a lot of potential there. It's just a matter of let's get this kid some room and some good distribution so that he can show a skill set. He might play better with the starters at some point during the year. I think that will show a little more than what we're seeing here. But if you can kind of get the ball rolling here in preseason, in summer league, then he might have a good shot to show some improvement during the preseason.
Guys, when it comes to what you saw though in today's game, again, Castleton, I know it will be the enamor, and you will not hear it. You're the closest man to Laker Tom, so you're going to hear nothing but
me
love for you.
I'm high on Castleton as well. I think he's got some nice elbow. He's got some nice elbow game to him, right? Like,
but he's going to be talked about like he's the second coming of Kareem.
Oh yeah, no, he's going to win Rookie of the Year for sure. But my point is that like I think that's listen. I probably overstated my pessimism and didn't allow for enough of the hope and wonder that I have in my soul to shine through in the last hour. So let me counterbalance myself by saying I think a lot of the guys that we picked up have potential and could be great role players to maybe even good players in this league. Just not this season. They're gonna have a lot of a learning curve. They're gonna hit a rookie wall. All of these things are gonna happen. So just temper your expectations with reality, and you're gonna have a wonderful season. And hopefully some of these guys can contribute on the big team. And don't be surprised if they don't. That's all.
So MagicMan, of course, with all the signings and all the praise and all the things that are going on with the Lakers and this free agent offseason, want to ask you who are your keys to the season as far as the new additions are concerned? Who are the newest additions that you like that really are going to make an imprint on this team?
Yeah, Gabe Vincent. His pick and roll play in the playoffs, especially, is something that we really need as far as like a secondary playmaker goes, Gerald. And quite frankly, I'm just gonna be honest. I was dreading Chris Paul having any association with us whatsoever.
You and I both.
Yeah. Very slow. That's gonna be very interesting now to see how the Warriors play. Gabe Vincent is like he's a versatile pick and roll playmaker. He could play fast, he could play slow. He's really adept at pick and rolls on the wing. He can do high pick and rolls, low pick and rolls. Spo gave him a lot of freedom, and he rewarded Spo's trust with his efficiency. So I really think him solidifying a second unit is going to be huge. I also like the Taurean Prince signing as well, Gerald. You needed a guy who can like shoot, and he can shoot. So I think the bench is pretty solid, Gerald. I think we have at least a solid 10-man rotation, depending on how either one of the rookies plays. It might get up to 11. But like one thing I liked about this summer is that Rob Pelinka worked in collaboration with Darvin Ham. He got him players that fit his system. It didn't feel that way the last season with Vogel. It felt like they were on two ends of the opposite spectrum there as far as what guys they need in their system. So it was nice to see a collaborative effort for the front office and then the coaching staff. And obviously, Gerald, with the guys we picked up, the most important guy in all of this is Phil Handy. Phil,
Yes.
If it wasn't for Phil Handy, I don't think Rui would have had the playoff performance that he had. And I also think he was able to keep Austin Reeves on an even keel and not have his confidence go in the toilet when he was struggling there. So he's going to be really, really important. Of the guys we have who I think could be a sleeper, like Hood Schifino could maybe show something with if there's injuries, but other than that, I think we're pretty solid. I think there's really no reason to put any of these rookies in a position where they can't succeed. Max Lewis isn't ready for 20 minutes in the NBA yet, Gerald. I don't think Hood Schifino is ready for that either, even though he's a decent pick and roll player. I think this is an opportunity for him to sit on the bench and watch Gabe Vincent and LeBron run pick and rolls for AD and Jackson Hayes and kind of learn on the fly.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with MagicMan Sean Grice returning home. He's coming home. I don't even start any songs right now. Sound like I'm gonna go into like some other songs as far as coming home is like. But it's good to have him back, along with Jamie Sweet from Lakerholics.com, and of course Joe Soro from LakersBall.com and Simblades with the Y.com. And yes, Jamie, are you cooking? Are you cooking dinner for us all?
Jamie, are you using real tomatoes, or is that tomato paste?
It's Herdez salsa, which is sin magnifique. Anyway, I gotta go, guys. But
ladies and gentlemen,
there he is. All right, enjoy the cookout, Jamie. All the best, my friend.
Happy 4th, everybody. Don't pull your hands off like some NFL linemen have.
There you go. Absolutely.
and avoid the vodka pickles.
There you go. Absolutely. Have a good one, Jamie. That was Jamie Sweet from Lakerholics.com cooking dinner, hopefully for us all next time around. But it is Joe Soro, Sean Grice, and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching this thing. If you have not yet subscribed, we had our best weekend ever here at the Lakers Fast Break. Got over 200 subscribers in the past month, 100 of which came in the past 48 hours. So we truly appreciate everybody out there watching, listening as we get closer to the big 1,000 mark. We're hopefully going to get that in sooner rather than later. But Joe, let me hit you back up. When you talks about as far as what the Lakers still need, again, Christian Wood, Jamie's not in love with that aspect of it. I'm actually more inclined to say I think we should give him an opportunity. I think this would be prime for Christian Wood for one of his last stops to revitalize his game and his reputation so that he could probably get a bigger contract in the league. But how important is it for the Lakers to get one more big that can actually make a contribution, Joe?
It's very important, and Christian would make a positive impact because we don't have any impact at the moment. So anything is better than nothing. I know
I think Hayes can give you some minutes defensively off the bench.
I'd say there's one player I don't trust in the signings, and that's Jackson Hayes. Mm-hmm. If you've frequented the New Orleans Pelican fan base, a lot of them were happy he was gone, and a lot of them said that he had a low basketball IQ. This isn't a team that can afford to have low IQ players, unless you're using him like and I'm not saying Wenyen Gabriel was a low IQ player. I'm just saying he becomes a Wenyen Gabriel player as a guy you could just throw in there when you have to, which is probably what it's going to be anyways. But it does help if you do have a starting center caliber type center, because right now we have none. The only one is AD, and I still don't consider him a center. He's a power forward, and it would help save him up for the stretch run, and that's really all that matters. LeBron and AD have to be preserved for the stretch run, and these signings were done so that we have continuity and the ability to have depth, so that that LeBron and AD don't have to do all the work. And that's it. We need guys that can step up, especially when AD misses 15 games. We need to win 10 of those games at least. If LeBron takes 15 games off, we need to win 10 of those games. If we can do that, then we're in good shape for the playoffs. And this time we won't burn out in the end.
MagicMan, that's still a weakness, but even with all the signings, is that there is a need for another big man. And with Wout there's not much left. PJ Washington, we've talked about Yurt7, we've talked about some other players as well that might fit the need. We got Lopez that signed today with Milwaukee to be with his brother. Strange that they're so far away from a Disney World or Disneyland, but it is what it is. Then you have you had Plumlee signing with the Clippers for 1 year, $5 million. That doesn't leave us many options.
Disneyland sucks now, by the way. Just so I don't know what
I like Disneyland. I disagree with you on
trash.
That. I like Disneyland. I like Disneyland. Sorry, I'm going to keep on liking Disneyland. But MagicMan, getting back to you when it comes
to Barlow a little bit, don't you?
Sorry, man. To me, it's the happiest place on earth.
It's not. It's the shittiest place on earth.
Thanks. Great. Gonna have to remember.
I can't. There was no other word to use.
115.35.
Yeah, that was that. Sorry, I was there the last couple of times. I wanted to hang myself.
Okay, well, there's probably a nice bar over there that if you wanted to.
I could have just jumped into the dirty water at the Pirates of the Caribbean and called it a day, but I have a family to
Universal
take care of.
Studios. I already went there a couple months
Now
ago.
I love Universal. That is a good spot.
Super Mario World is the noisiest place on planet Earth. Do not go there if you
Listen
have
to what JE says. Right
take
there.
some
There
take
you
some
go.
headphones inside Super Mario World. It's all built. The sound does not travel out. It just stays there, and it's just noise. It is just, my God. But anyways, Magic Man, getting back to what the Lakers need as far as the center is concerned, there is Christian Wood. I know a lot of people talking about him. People are divisive on him as far as what he can do. We understand he has defensive deficiencies, but the fact that he can stretch the floor, play with AD, and score is obviously for us very tempting.
It is. It is. I have to admit, he would. However, just out of curiosity, I was just looking up what his usage rate is. It's almost 25%, Joe. It's a little over 24. So he does need the ball in his hands a little bit to be effective as a shooter. He's not a pure catch and shoot scorer. He does need the ball in his hands. He needs opportunities. I just think we're at a position now, Gerald, where I would rather the ball be in LeBron's hands, and if it can't be in LeBron's hands, then it's in Vincent's hands. I think Wood would be. I would call him. I don't think he's superfluous in the sense that he can fill it up. I think he's superfluous in the sense that you already have guys who have high usage rates, and you've put depth around them to help. I think Wood would just be, an additional add-on, and Gerald, there's a possibility if he doesn't like his role, he could kind of disrupt the locker room. There have been whispers that that's what happened in Milwaukee. That's what happened in Dallas, and that's kind of why he's been shown the door his whole career.
He's burnt a lot of bridges. I will definitely admit that to anyone out there. And you know what? If the Lakers do take a flyer on him, that the ceiling is him having him as your starting center alongside with AD, where AD can make up for a lot of his defensive, deficiencies, but be a stretch five out there so that the Lakers have three players out there that can actually shoot from the outside. Because we're not counting LeBron at 30%. Because I don't know which LeBron you're going to get from year for year. Do you get the LeBron that shoots 36% from three, or do you get the LeBron that shoots 30 to 32? Last year we got the LeBron that shoots 30 to 32. That's part of the problem when you look at it.
Yes, big time. If that's the same issue, I think we'll circle the wagons here, Gerald, and you'll probably be right. They should have taken a flyer on Woods if they had the chance there. I have just this feeling, Gerald, in the pit of my stomach that wherever he goes, it's going to be an issue eventually. He's going to grumble about playing time, or he's going to grumble about his role or this and that. I'm very hesitant to add anybody who might cause locker room issues.
I think Jason Kidd is still tight with the Lakers to some degree, and maybe he's relayed the message to them that you might want to stay away from him. It could be why they haven't tried to take a shot at him yet.
No team has taken a shot at him yet. That's what
someone will. Someone will eventually, but
it's a business. Somebody will. I just think it's like at this point in time, it's kind of a bird in the hand with him as far as problems. Like there are always going to be problems with him. Even if he's walking on the sunny side of the street, he'll find something to complain about.
It's something that we have to all consider as far as the actually, if the well is getting dry, Sean, the well is getting dry, Joe. There's not much left. Opportunities for whoever's left that can actually give you a contribution than just sit on the bench. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. That's the problem I see as far as being able to find someone, unless you make a trade. But then again, what assets do the Lakers have left to go ahead and make a trade for someone like that?
Not much.
Because as Joe's, you've elaborated, Joe, at length and with very good reason. You were the first to jump on. AD needs to get back to the four, not only for what his preference is, but for health reasons. It's something that again needs to be stressed to the front office.
We may have to wait till the deadline again for a solid big. And the Lakers have set their contracts up so that in case something comes with that, then they'll have a chance at possibly getting something late in the season. The Lakers have likely allowed themselves to be fairly good with this team currently at the moment today. They could probably win 25 of the first 40 games. I think they can be 25.
Anything beats 2-10. We were pretty bummed when it came to 2-10 doing those post game shows.
We can even go. Let's say.
Hi, this is Gerald for the Lakers Fast Break. Life sucks. Lakers are 2-10.
30 and 22. If they're sitting at 30 and 22 at the All-Star break, now
30 and 22. That's
52 games. Yeah, usually they hit that low 50. Yeah, I know it's true. That's why I said it. Don't interrupt me again.
No way. I will if I want to.
So if they're playing ball like that, they're probably going to need to make a move. Who they're going to trade, we'll find out. Whether it's going to be a big or whether maybe there's a star that ends up not doing what he's supposed to. Trae Young, and there's a deal there. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because I think he's going to be the next one to demand a trade out. That's just my feeling. And then at that point, the Lakers have some options there, right? If they are 35 and 17, let's say, do you want to mess that up, or do you want to write it? And maybe add a one piece somehow. I don't think the buyout market is going to make that much of a difference. So, yeah, I think the record is going to determine on whether they're going to somewhat shake up the team, at least with a couple guys, and go after one major piece that could finish them off. If they were able to do what they did last year with role players, just minimal role players, and some of those role players didn't really play consistent enough, like Vando, then maybe a true third guy can be the difference in winning a championship next year.
And I want to stress when we talk about the infatuation that we have for Christian Wood or some player of his ilk to come in, it is more for the regular season. WC makes a great point. For the crunch time minutes and for the playoffs, we expect AD to play the predominant amount of at the center position. Don't get us wrong, but saving him is a key as far as MagicMan. Him playing the four is a way of saving him from having to be beat up by the bigger players for a predominant amount of minutes during the course of the season. I mean, during the crunch time, he's playing the center. During the playoffs, he's playing the center. We get that. It's just the amount of who can we get there as a big body that can play alongside him that actually makes it a lot easier for him to take up the less amount of minutes at the center position.
Yeah, it's how many times do you want to keep breaking that rock against the stone, Gerald? Eventually, it's gonna smash. So he needs a break at times, like considerably. So we added depth there where he could sit on the bench, hopefully for an actual whole fourth quarter, and he doesn't have to come into the game with 4 or 5 minutes left because we've had a 26-point lead that's been shrunk to 13. I'd like to avoid that as much as possible, especially with the way things went last year. So yeah, if you can give him room to maneuver and have that cushion, because there is a cushion there now. You could still play Rui at the 4 if you need to, depending on matchups, and Prince is perfectly capable of either playing the 3 or the 2. I mean, he's more of a 3, but I mean, in a pinch, depending on matchups and that, if you wanted to put him at a 2, you could. Ham's got more versatility at this point at his disposal than he did last year. So yeah, I think the depth is in a good position. Like Joe was saying, probably at the deadline, depending on the way things shake out, maybe you only need to add a piece or 2 there.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate everybody watching and listening. It is the Lakers, unfortunately, losing in their first preseason game right there, 107-90 to the Miami Heat. And just when it comes to it, though, Magic Man, the idea is what Joe talked about, playing AD and LeBron less minutes. If we can keep them around 30 minutes a game, it is just makes it this so much easier and better for the Lakers long term.
Yes, 100%, Gerald. I mean, especially considering that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I'm with you. If you could keep them like below 35, we're hoping to meet in the middle there, right? But you're hoping for 30 and a spell. At this point in time, I think there's enough shooting on this team where you don't really have it's not like an overt concern. It's a little bit of a worry because shooting comes and goes even with the best of teams, but for the most part, I agree with you, Gerald. I think it's incumbent. It's emphasized that they need rest. Like we saw what the playbook was in 2020, right? You have a team full of depth around them. There's cushioning, especially in that front court. They get rest. They're ready to go for the playoffs. And then that depth shows itself again. And hopefully it makes for a better result because they were just gassed at the end. Denver ate their lunch.
Yeah, and a part of the reason is what Papa Duck Butter is saying in the chat as far as starting the season 2-10. Yeah, I know Joe's just thrilled at Papa Duck Butter's name. I will say though that it's the fact I mentioned it on the last show. Is where the Lakers had to work so hard, from 2-10 to try and get even into a play-in position. That a part of the reason why they ran out of gas in that Denver series because literally had to play LeBron and AD in games where other players were resting later in the season.
Yes, that was also a factor. He he shouldn't have been playing on that foot, but he decided to play because he is who he is. He's put on the miles, and he's the one who understands his body better than anybody else in the world. So he decided to play on it, Gerald, and got all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Just couldn't get over that one last hurdle. And Gerald, you're right. I mean, it's incumbent upon the Lakers to facilitate a scenario where you have depth around him. That depth is productive because, I mean, you can have all the depth in the world, but if they're not producing, it's not real depth. So if they produce, I'm with you. I think you can play LeBron less than 30, 35 minutes a game, and he'll be ready to go for the playoffs.
Well, again, that's what I'm hoping. Because as Joe has pointedly said several times, the less you play LeBron and AD, as far as on a health-wise basis, not they're injured, but as far as minutes in game, the fresher they'll be come playoff time.
Yeah, hopefully, Gerald, they have obviously they have meetings beforehand, right? So we know that AD is going to miss some games. There are just going to be some maintenance days where he just scheduled to be out of the lineup. Gerald, I mean, if you're gonna play LeBron and AD in back-to-back situations, even with all rainbows and sunshine, I'd still hope that you put a minute restriction on them in that scenario, because we do have the depth at this point to insulate ourselves from a situation where neither one of those guys are in a position where they're fatigued, or there's been muscle overexertion or whatever, and somehow, some way, some bad happens. That's usually the way it goes in a back-to-back. So I'm hoping they have all their ducks in a row here and decide that either one of them sits in the back-to-backs, or they both have minute restrictions.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with the returning Magic Man, Sean Grice. And also, of course, Mr. Joe Soro from LakersBall.com, and also as well, Simblades with the Y.com. Knicks are nice. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Knicks, just truly appreciate you stopping by. Salute to the planet. Being respectful to us, and we'll be respectful back to you. It's just so great to have you here. Wishing best for your team as far as the Knicks are concerned. Wouldn't mind seeing a Lakers-Knicks final. That would be really cool to see. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers unfortunately did lose today, 107-90. But before we head on out, Joe, because it's getting close to that time, getting close to starting to do some dinners, starting to get close to some 4th of July action tomorrow. Magic Man, I hope you had a great Canada Day this past weekend. Joe, your final thoughts on what the Lakers did so far today, and what you're looking forward to in the coming days from the Lakers.
I think they're going to see which big they end up signing. I think that's it. Once they do that, it's done ski for the free agency period. And then at that point, we're going to see what talent we can use here in Summer League. I think Rob did his job pretty quickly too, within the first couple of days of free agency. So I'm happy where the Lakers are. I do want to find out one thing though. I have not been able to find any information on whether LeBron had any kind of anything with his ankle. He had a torn tendon in his foot, and I haven't heard an update on anything since I think June 3rd on whether there was something going on there.
So, yeah,
he said he wouldn't tell you.
He said, I'm gonna get on a plane, I'm gonna get surgery, and you're just gonna find out about it when I feel like telling you.
Yeah, and go to the LeBron James of feet, as I remember correctly.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
The LeBron James of what?
Feet.
Look, I just want to know if he's playing with no injuries next year. I don't know what this cloak and dagger crap is, but I guess if he wants to play that game, so be it. And I haven't heard anything about AD's foot, if there's something there. But if they're feeling,
all I seen was him working out on those Instagram.
He did look good. He did look good working out. I don't know about the hair part, but then we're all.
You were just not with the perm. That is now
the perms
become
are terrible, guys. It's almost. I couldn't figure it out in the '80s. I could definitely not figure it out now. But as long as they're good to start and we can keep their minutes. AD can play 35 minutes. I think he's still good there on occasion, but we have to make sure we keep LeBron at 30. I want 29. I like that number, 29. Keep him at 29 on average throughout the year. If you do that and still win 60 to 65% of your games, you're going to be in really good shape towards the end of the year. And that's my hope the rest of the way here to prep the team for training camp.
JE, I'm not going to dispute that. As he gets older, get closer to the big 4-0, you're right. He probably has a higher percentage or risk of injury. But, anything that the Lakers can do to try and prevent that, you're going to see more of what Joe really doesn't like, and the load management come into play as far as with both LeBron and AD, even if they are healthy throughout the season. And I know Joe doesn't like the sound of that, but Magic Man, just so great to have you here. And Papa says, give me 2020 AD and we win the chip. I hope that's the case, and we can get finally a full season of AD at MVP like level. We'll see what happens there. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate Sean and Joe being here. Once again, the Lakers do lose 107-90. Guys, before we head on out, people are asking, are we going to be on the 4th? Is there any time in the afternoon you guys can be on?
There might be a possibility, so keep in contact with me in the morning.
Okay. And I'll schedule it if that's the case. Sean, would any returns for us planned, or no pressure, just glad to have you back.
It's up to you.
Up to me.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
No, you're the coach. You call the plays. You call my number. I go in.
Papa Duck Butter says, Magic Man, you're a gorgeous lad. He didn't know
He
the
is.
Magic Man before.
He is very, very handsome.
Appreciate that.
I mean, you can't deny it.
Didn't you once say, hey, Joe, I'm charming. What can I say?
Yeah, I
you?
did. I think I did say that.
You charming, Gerald?
No, Magic Man said that on one of our playback.tv/Lakers Fast
I
Break.
think we were talking about we were talking about
you
how
and the ladies. You and the ladies.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Well, there's a reason his name is Magic Man.
and we'll leave it at that. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, and also as well, Magic Man Sean Grice. Great to have him back. Joe
Come
Soro,
back to playback during the next Summer League game, and you'll get the R version of what that is.
Oh my gosh! That's on Wednesday indeed. But once again,
I will be there.
Oh yeah, I know you will be.
Oh yes.
Yes, you will. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Please join us for our coverage of the games. And of course, afterwards on Wednesday, it's going to be us at the Lakers Fast Break. But tomorrow, we'll try to sneak something in. Will we finally get a resolution on who the final roster spot will go for the Lakers? We'll wait and see. But there's always Lakers talk. And you know what? It always should be happening. Whether or not we win or lose here in the preseason, we're just looking for a good time. Now, hoping even if you don't join us, you can always catch us later on the 4th. But please be safe and have a great 4th of July. And we'll try to be on tomorrow for you here.
Don't let this happen to you guys.
Yeah, don't let that happen. Yeah. Careful with the fireworks. Right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.